Hello there, my name is Richardson, and today I'm gonna be talking about sex trafficking case, more specifically the Kyron Lajon Richardson case. Well, who was Richardson? He was a 29-year-old man who was accused of sex trafficking in Miami-Dade, Florida. The victim was a 21-year-old woman from Little Rock, Arkansas, who was lured to this man's residence through social media. He basically manipulated her, complimented her, sent her a one-way ticket to Miami, and basically through violence, weapons, fear, etc. He may physically abused her by making her do sex work and exotic dancing to to his clients, who he basically got money from and kept all the profit. There were three more women on this case on the residence. More on that later because it gets really interesting. This is the man, Richardson, who was on his mugshot when the police department of the city of Miami was capture him. Let's go into the details, the essence of this case. Well, this is based and thanks to hypersexualization of the victims, in this case, black women. The victim is from Little Rock, Arkansas, who is known from Little Rock, Arkansas, which is known for its really high percentage of African American population. In fact, we'll see later, almost 50% of the population in Little Rock, Arkansas is black. Now, why did a man in Florida contact a woman in Arkansas, a black woman in Arkansas, and was able to lure her into Florida to meet him? Well, the thing is, black women are often hypersexualized in social media, in news articles, etc., etc. We'll have gone through all of this throughout the semester. We know that people think of black women as sex symbols, people who do exotic dancing, sex work, etc., and they don't victimize them, but they're victims. Like white people, like anyone can be a victim. In this case, black women are really vulnerable because of these stereotypes, and because of that, less likely the victims are less likely to be recognized by society, and less therefore law enforcement does not put that much input into it. Also, these stereotypes may influence the traffickers' targeting strategies because they see that black women are a target that is really easy compared to others. So they basically use tactics like in this case, Richardson used manipulation and false love, and more specifically, love bombing, which was, hey, I love you, I compliment you, I buy you a ticket to meet me, and then boom, I emotionally manipulated you, and now I'm gonna physically manipulate you by make you do stuff that you don't want to do because of fear and for your life, basically. These are the statistics I was talking about, in which it shows that around 50% of the population of Little Rock, Arkansas, was black, which demonstrates that even black women in these states, really far away from Florida, I mean from Miami, Florida, far away, are susceptible to human sex trafficking because they don't know about all this stuff. They don't know about these possibilities because we're gonna see now the systemic issues do not advise the public, do not alert the public of this that this can happen. In this case, the victim was able to escape by messaging her father, the 21-year-old woman from Little Rock, Arkansas, messaged her father in Arkansas, and the father contacted law enforcement. The law enforcement obviously responded to a call, arrested the man, etc. Now, it is important to analyze that law enforcement knew about this because of their father, not because they had a clue that, oh, this person is missing, something's going on, something weird is going on. No. Just because someone alerted them that this was going on. So this is really important because no one knew about all this. No one knew that this person was missing. This is something we talked about earlier in the semester, how women are kind of ignored when they're missing or something happening to black women specifically. It is overall ignored. On the other hand, white women are portrayed in everywhere, especially in news articles, which is the next point. Few to no news covering the case were there to find. I mean, no documentaries, no interviews, nothing. which is funny because when you see white women that were victims, it is full of documentaries, even in Netflix, etc., everywhere. But in this case, and many others, especially in black women, nothing. They did not know. There are no news. The only news about this is the police report, what they did to the man, the felonies he committed, and this story. But there is nothing about the three women that were found in the residency, and nothing about how traumatic this event was for this woman. Nothing. And this limited national attention to these cases basically portrays that people, well, social media, news articles do not care about these demographics specifically. It is really, really, really clear. We have analyzed it throughout the semester. And another thing is, while Florida has strong anti trafficking laws, well, same throughout all the 50 states, um, and inefficiency is shown in especially in urban areas, as we can see here. Out of the top states by sex trafficking, Florida is the third state. It is interesting because we can see here how these statistics show that human trafficking cases are going up every single year, but police departments are not able to learn from these cases and actually analyze them and make sure they don't happen again. Because when, for example, with murderers, when it happened back in the 90s and 80s, when the serial killers started to grow, police departments learned from it, and it's not that common anymore. But the tendency we see now is that every year more cases, especially in black women, they don't learn from it, which is funny because it correlates with the fact that no news articles are about it, and therefore they're not gonna learn from it, right? And society doesn't reflect on these cases. So potential solutions that should be applied, in my opinion, will be these four: ethnic mandatory training for law enforcement, specifically in two areas: in trafficking science and case response. We're gonna talk later about trafficking science and case response. Basically, be able to understand how to act quickly, how to spot this problem. Let's separate all these people, interrogate, and that's it, and be able to understand the story fully. Also, launch awareness campaigns to counter harmful stereotypes. It is really important to make people understand that black women are still women. They are still people. They are still victims. Not because they're black women, they're gonna be doing sex work for free, or because they like it. No. Make a bigger impact through social media and news articles, especially in solved and unsolved cases. For example, this case, which was solved, there are almost no news, and other cases, especially in white women cases, there is full of news, documentaries, interviews, etc. So it's really, really important for both solved and unsolved. For example, people that are missing, to alert the people, hey, this is happening. There are victims that from all races that are going through this, which is gonna also counteract the harmful stereotypes I talked about earlier, and the support organizations led by marginalized communities and fund survivor recovery programs. That would be because we need more, let's say, more reflection, more funding on these institutions that help the victims go over the trauma, share their story, and basically grow out of their misery, which was the traumatic event they were exposed to. This type of organizations, we can find them. There are a few around the world. For example, this one is sponsored by Center for Family Services. I stand against human trafficking. And the warning sign for human trafficking I was talking about that law enforcement should focus on will be, common signs we can see, like physical abuse. Women want to hide certain parts of their body. They do not want to talk in the presence of another person or a certain person. They don't want to talk about a certain topic, etc. There are many psychological or behavioral signs that police officers should be able to spot, which will help with the human sex trafficking cases overall. Thank you for reviewing this with me. I hope you liked it, and thank you for watching.